Hello and welcome back to The Drag Detective, where today we are going to finish up talking about All Stars 5. And as you know, this is not one of my favorite seasons, so I'm honestly okay with that. But today we are going to discuss how the season would have went if it wasn't rigged, and then we'll do another little mini what if at the end of the video. But we have discussed what if it's a top two. We've discussed why it was rigged and what about it was rigged. So this is like the final Pokemon evolution. We'll go episode by episode and look at what would have changed if it wasn't rigged and if it would have impacted the season as a whole. Will we have a different final three? Will we have the winner still be eliminated in the third episode, like when we had our top two format? We'll have to see. Let's go on the journey. Let's start with episode 1, which is the variety show. Here's some contention. For me, just because I personally think one performance is better than another, to me doesn't mean that it's rigged. So here's an example. A lot of people, myself included, would prefer that Mariah Paris Balenciaga won the talent show with her iconic spoken word performance, but India Farah also did a top-notch performance, one of the best performances of the episode. So I don't think it was rigged that she won, even if there's another queen that I think I would have personally given the win to instead. I just wanted to explain that. I'm sure I'm going to get comments like, Mariah should have won the talent show. And I'm like, I'm with you, bestie. I agree with you. But India Farah still did a great job. So I'm not going to say she didn't deserve to win. And as we know with the talent shows, things that are a little bit more like low-key, like Trixie's performance on the All-Stars 3 one, or like Silky Nutmeg Ganache's in the All-Stars 6 one, those tend to not be as favored by judges because I think they're looking for some of that more like fun, up-tempo, like crazy vibes. And that's always who sort of wins these challenges. So I'm not shocked that Mariah didn't win, but I do think she at least deserved a high placement over Miz Cracker. In the bottom three, while I would love to save Derek Barry so that she lives another day, she did not have the best performance, and at least Angina had a clear vision, even if the vision was a little bit maybe misguided. And then obviously Mayhem Miller gave us the iconic which is, you know, the best rap performance of the year. and can I just let me just get on a soapbox for literally 30 seconds. The hatred that you people have for Mayhem Miller. Okay, let's not go that far. Obviously, the Mayhem Miller thing has become a meme at this point, and I'm fully, I love the meme. But some of you guys get so mad. I have had some of the meanest comments I have ever gotten on my channel because I think Mayhem Miller would have lasted another episode or another 2 episodes, or I think she would have done well if she was in this challenge. The way that some of you, the fury that incites in you, I question why. Like, why do you care in a random YouTuber that will never be on Drag Race, that is not a drag queen, that is just watching the show from, you know, whatever lens that I have? Why do you care so much that Mayhem Miller makes it another episode? Like, I've had some wild, you know, things in other videos, and people are like, I don't know about that. Mayhem makes it an episode further, and suddenly it's, you stupid bitch. And I'm like, you truly need to take a breath, bestie. I promise everything will be fine. Because guess what? She didn't last another episode, so this doesn't matter. It just confuses me. Of all the people that I've maybe like had go further in the competition or get cut earlier, why was it Mayhem Miller that gets some of you so upset? I just think it's funny. It's very funny to me. Go stand Mayhem Miller. But as you see, nothing in this episode changes except for Mariah getting a place in the top. So we can move on to my favorite episode of the season and one of my favorite rumix songs, I'm in Love. So here we have Shea winning, obviously. Blair in the top. I think she did a great job with her Hannibal Lecter verse. But I actually switched out Jujubee and Cracker. And if you go watch the rigged video, I kind of get into why I think Jujubee's performance was more safe compared to queens like Cracker and Alexis and Mayhem, who I think had a lot more fun and dynamicism in their performances. Obviously, I think Juju did great, but I do think this was a great verse for Cracker. I mean, if we're looking at her lines in this, he played a boxer, so he moves around my ring just fine. When things get rocky, please release the Rocky 9. I mean, that is iconic. I mean, I love Jujubee's taking off my blouse, please fill up my house. But I feel like Cracker really, really had some fun wordplay going on in hers. Make me play Rambo till I can't pick my feet up. Like, for me, I think this was one of my favorite performances of this episode. And I think Cracker, you know, since I took away a high placement for her in the talent show, I just gave it to her back here because I think she deserved it. So, also, Mariah Paris Balenciaga did not deserve a bottom 2 placement. She should have just been low. There was no need for a bottom 3. And we then have India Farah and Angina in the bottom 2. But this song gets so much flack, and I just don't understand, because if this is the bottom 3 performances, Mariah still has that iconic "he'll fillet me, he will slay me" line. We have India giving that hilarious "sent that Britney back because I felt very attacked," which, like, you know, obviously is referencing Derek Barry. I thought was really smart. And then Angina was "when we touch down, I'll be riding." She was giving, even if her vocal cords were not. But yeah, I think that this is a really great episode. I think all the queens did a good job. These 3 performances, I think, just, like, weren't giving as much. So, obviously, no one's going to send home India because she just won, and Angina is going to go home. So far, nothing super drastic, just a couple little placement changes, but that will change in episode 3, where we have the Hotel Design Challenge. I'm sorry, Shea's group was the worst, and they all deserved to be in the bottom. So how will that affect things? Oh, also, I put the entire Jujubee group in the top. I think that Blair and Mayhem were fine, but it was given Club 96, whereas Team Jujubee kind of just did a generic jungle theme, but I think that they had smart choices in, like, the decor and, like, the drink. And Jujubee and Alexis were the funniest 2 in this entire episode. So I know they threw India in the bottom because she got a little bit outshined, but I still think she helped make the funnest room of the episode. She doesn't deserve to be in the bottom because of that. So she will be high. Alexis will be high, Jujubee will win, and she will then have to eliminate someone from the bottom 3. And at this point, the only queen who has had any kind of low placement was Mariah. So I still think she would vote Mariah out, but at least Mariah would have one less bottom, and she would have a high placement in the talent show. And now we move on to episode 4, which is SheMZ, where I don't give an absolute shit. Mayhem had one of the funniest performances of this episode, and I have receipts. So watch this montage.
You know what? That's chauvinistic, dude.
Girl, no. I saw you. You were caught on candid camera. No.
SheMZ? SheMZ?
Am I? Hi, guys. Hi. Watch this, bitch. What?
I've been in therapy.
For what, being a thiefarella?
Licking. Oh my God, you're a licker.
Okay, cool. We're all on the same page. I will just keep it real. Shea and Alexis were not funny. I laughed maybe once during their performance. They had the most generic of the prompts, which was just 2 ex-housewives who are pretending to be pregnant for publicity and then they get into a fight. Like, that's pretty generic, but I felt like they couldn't make it funny, and it just kind of went nowhere. Alexis kept screaming over Shea, and yeah, it wasn't great. Then you have Jujubee, Cracker, and Blair, who Juju and Cracker were the top 2 in this episode for sure. But Blair was not, she was like a non-factor in this challenge. She like piped up a couple times to kind of give some kind of cringy lines. But this was all Jujubee and Cracker just slaying. So for me, Juju, Cracker, and Mayhem were the funniest three in the bunch. And I even thought about maybe not putting India in the bottom here because I do think her and Mayhem's scene made no sense. It was so crazy. And I actually think based off what they were given, they did a pretty okay job. But India had a couple kind of weird moments. I think that she couldn't, like, keep the scene going with what she had. So I did keep her in the bottom. And we also have Blair in the bottom. I think of this entire episode, Blair was the worst. And I'm very surprised she wasn't even low in this episode. Alexis, I checked the wiki charts, someone destroyed the wiki charts, so I checked the fandom.com charts, and they had Alexis as high. But I just rewatched this episode, and in her critiques, she gets negatively critiqued. So I think that she was definitely low in the episode, even if it said she was high on the fandom chart. So I kept her low here as well. I think she just did a lot of, like, screaming and talking over Shea. And obviously when you're doing improv, it's hard to come up with, like, funny lines in the moment. It's an easy backup to just, like, get loud. And I think that she relied on it a little too much, and it just became a little too one note. But I think her runway for sure kept her from the bottom, and I think that Blair and India had a couple more issues than she did regardless. So, in this scenario, India has won a challenge, and she was just in the top the week prior, whereas Blair was high one week and has been safe other than that. So I think that Cracker would send Blair home. And especially if this happened, they would show more of the Blair and Cracker fight, which we talked about in the rigged episode. So we're already at the point where someone who made top 4 is out in 7th place. Let's continue on with the Snatch game. So again, my favorite performance was Jujubee, but Shea did an amazing job, so I don't think it was rigged that she got the win here. Obviously, the top 3 were her, Alexis, and Juju. And we're not doing the if you're not in the top, you're in the bottom, because the only reason they did that was to stir up drama and give everyone, like, ample options of who to send home, which, I mean, I don't think they really utilized very well. So we're just going to keep it tops and bottoms. In the low placement, I put Mayhem Miller. We've never seen her do a Snatch game. She went home both seasons before Snatch game. I don't think she would do amazing. I don't think she would do as bad as Cracker or India. I think she would be like Blair. I think she could get a joke or two in, but I don't think she could consistently make everyone crack up the whole time. I have her as low. I mean, there's no way she's going to be better than Alexis or Juju or Shea. But I do think she'd be better than our bottom 2, which is Cracker and India. I mean, this is really kind of a weird moment for Cracker because in her first Snatch game, she was fine, safe. But here, she really just picked a character that she could not do anything with. She picked Lady Gaga, and she was trying to play it as, like, the new, like, classy Lady Gaga. But it just didn't give her anywhere to go. Like, maybe if she was pretending to be classy, but she was still that, like, weird, born that way bitch. Like, you know what I mean? That could have worked a little bit better. But no, she just played it straight, like, Golden Globe winning Gaga. And it was very flat. Her and India, bottom 2. And at this point, India's had a couple bottom placements. This is Cracker's first bottom placement. And we know Cracker and Shea are friends. So I think that India would go home for sure here. So we now move on to the backyard ball, where this one is hard because if it was just a sewing challenge, I think Mayhem would be in the top. But it's part comedy challenge, part character challenge, part design challenge. And I don't know what Mayhem would have brought. I don't think she ever posted, like, here's my look for the country cousin. So I don't know what she would have done. But compared to people like Jujubee and Shea and Cracker, who all had really, really solid characters in the challenge, and then also had solid looks as well, I'm not as confident that Mayhem could pull off the character as much as I'm confident that she could pull off the look. And obviously Alexis had a stunning look, but she also couldn't get the character to be super funny or make, like, a lot of sense. So I think that here they would be the bottom 2, with Mayhem obviously being sent home by Cracker. since she has no challenge win, and she's been in the bottom before. So Alexis already makes it further than she would have, but I don't think she would make it farther than episode 7, which is the stand-up challenge. I actually think she would do a really good job. I don't think she would be bad, but for me, Shea and Cracker had flawless performances in this stand-up challenge, and I think it'd be hard to top either of them. So I think the bottom two would unfortunately be Alexis and Jujubee, and at that point, Alexis doesn't have a challenge win. Jujubee does. Jujubee's never been in the bottom. Alexis has. So I think that Cracker would then send Alexis home. And we're left with our original top 3, which, you know, everyone knew was going to happen. This is a very clear top 3 of this season. And if we look at their dusted and busted scores, it's pretty close. Cracker has the most wins, but she also has the most bottoms, whereas Shea actually has the highest score with 4, because Juju and Cracker both have 3. So the way that I judge these things is whoever has the highest dusted or busted score, I usually say deserves to win the season. This is obviously a little bit difficult because Shea doesn't really stand out super well in the finale. She has a great runway look, but Jujubee has the best runway look. She has an okay verse, but Cracker has the best verse. But I think that in the final lip sync, Shea washes the floor with it. She completely demolishes that final lip sync. So for me, I think that is enough to say that Shea would win the season. She has the best score. She was in the bottom only one time. She has 2 wins, and she slays the final lip sync. I think that is more than enough merit for her to win the season over Cracker and Jujubee. But, like I said, we have another what if. And when I do these videos, how whatever season should have gone, part of me is like, what would have made a better season? And what would have made this a better season is having a comeback episode. I really think in this cast we were missing it. We needed something to shake up the formula, something to shake up what was happening. Because towards the end of the season, it definitely started to drag. Once you realized who the final 3 were going to be, we were just waiting for these other queens to go home. You know what I mean? So we're going to say, what if this season has the same lip sync SmackDown format that All Stars 6 did, where this lip sync episode, it starts out with Derek Barry and Angina, our first 2 eliminated, lip syncing against each other to get a spot back into the competition. So who would win in a lip sync between Derek and Angina? Obviously song choice and things come into play, but I think at this point Angina was a little bit defeated, and Derek had a vengeance. She wanted to come back, and she wanted to get India's ass again. So I think that Derek would win in this lip sync, and then she would move on to lip syncing against Mariah. And this one is really hard. I think that there comes like the song choice is such a factor in who wins this. If it's high tempo, Derek wins. If it's low tempo, Mariah wins. If it's modern, Derek wins. If it's a throwback, Mariah wins. But I think if I'm playing my producer, hat, they would want Derek to move on. They obviously didn't really care about Mariah. I think if you run this lip sync 10 times with 10 different songs, Derek probably wins 6 times and Mariah probably wins 4. So I'm going to say Derek moves on to lip sync against Blair. I think she could beat Blair. And then we have the lip sync of the season, Derek Barry versus India Farah, SmackDown lip sync to see who comes back into the competition. And I think it would be a great lip sync, but I do think India Farah would return. She has some really fun moves that she can pull out. She's very high energy, and I think that she could beat Derek Barry. So if India comes back, episode 7 is the backyard ball with India still in. And we are at a top 6. Now, India is an amazing seamstress. She makes a lot of what she wears. I think the character could be a little wonky, but I think she would more than make up for it on the runway, where she could really make something stunning. So I think she would be in the top over Jujubee, pushing Jujubee into that low position. The judges really liked her character, obviously the amber, but they were like so-so on the dress. I think they were like, it's fine, you look pretty. But India, even if her character is so-so, I'm sure her garment would be absolutely stunning. But I still think Cracker nailed both aspects of this challenge, so she would still win. And then we have a bottom two of Alexis and Mayhem. Mayhem goes home. Now we have the stand-up challenge. I don't think India could do well here. I think that she would be in the bottom with Jujubee, and Alexis and Shea would be high, with Cracker still winning. Obviously, India would go home again. But we are now at our top four finale, where our top four is Alexis, Cracker, Juju, and Shea. They'll do the clap back, but then like on other All-Stars, they'll cut it down to a top two. I think that top two would be Cracker and Shea. These were the two that I think VH1 and WOW really wanted to see get a crown. And based off of the competition, based off of fan reception, I think Shea still wins. So this isn't the most crazy, like, how it would have gone, but it's definitely still a little bit different. This isn't the, like, most rigged season of all time, but there was still some pretty heavy rigging, as you could see from some of my placement changes. I don't know, guys. Like, I'm done talking about this season. Let me know what season you would want me to do for this next. We have a couple of options. I could go and do Canada Season 2. I could go back and do Season 9 of Drag Race. I could do an international season if you wanted to see España or Holland. Let me know. Obviously, we're about to finish All-Star 7 in a couple weeks, so that'll probably be the next season I do rigged videos for. But after that, I don't have a path. So let me know in the comments below what season you want to see get the rigged treatment next. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here are the links to all of my social medias, as well as my beautiful $3 and $5 patrons. Make sure, if you are able, I would love for you to check out my Patreon. I'm about to drop a redo of how Season 12 should have gone video. There's around 15 to 20 patron-only videos up on Patreon now. If you sign up for $5, you get access to every single one of them. No, they will never go up on YouTube. Those are for my patrons only. So I'm very excited to see how All-Star 7 ends and get some coverage going on that, because I have some thoughts. And yeah, the next couple of weeks will be interesting, but I cannot wait to see how it turns out. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. It has been a long day solving the mystery of what season am I so indifferent on that I will probably never speak about again on this channel. Oh, it's All Stars 5. Yeah, I mean, I rewatched it, obviously, and I literally was just like, oh, this is still going? Like, it's only 8 episodes, but I was like, is this ever going to end? I just feel like they did such a disservice to the queens on this cast with giving them bland challenges and no twists and no comeback, and it just felt very, I don't know. It's not my season. Am I the only... I feel like a lot of people don't like this season. I'm not the only one. Let me know. What do you think below? Is this the season you just like, whatever? Like, I prefer All-Stars 1 to All-Stars 5. Because at least All-Stars 1 is, like, super fun. Even if the format's garbage, it's a lot of fun to watch. So this is my least favorite All-Star season. And, yeah, let's talk about All-Star 7, a season that I love, next, because I get way more into that. Alright guys, I will catch you in the next one.